This is Real and Raw with I'm Lynn Serrano.
And I'm Lynn's co-host, Brian Kelm. Glad to be here.
Hi. Hi, Brian. How was your weekend?
Pretty chill. Chilling outside.
Was it?
Yeah. Just chill.
Yeah, because it's really chilling all over the United States. I mean, even Dallas, places that never get snow got snow. And it's cold.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wearing my Syracuse shirt today because it's just been cold. I don't care. I'm wearing a hoodie today. I'm cold in my own house.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad you're nice and warm. I mean, this is a winter you'll remember.
Well, it's
You're gonna
different
miss it when you
because
go home, the temperature wise.
when people say it's 60 and they're cold, I'm like, you have no flipping idea.
Well, it's been minus 20 at like 9 and 10 o'clock each morning since Thursday here.
Yep.
And today's going to be 16. And I'm like, wow, that's warm.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to the warmer temperatures. Mm-hmm. So, okay. So anyway, so what else is going on?
Just ready to go for a drive to go have some good Southern California food in a little bit. So
nice.
Mm-hmm.
So did you do anything special for Valentine's Day?
Nope, just hung out.
Oh, well, that's good.
What'd you do?
Well, I didn't do much, but an interesting thing happened is I actually got to video chat with somebody that was my first boyfriend, 12 years old, and he does podcasts and stuff too. And we were talking. We were probably going to start a podcast together about the junk and the life. I don't even know the title yet, really, but it's going to be awesome. It's going to be fun. But so he was kind of my virtual Valentine. Didn't get to spend time with him yesterday, but I'll get time to spend with him today. And then
what do you got
I don't
planned?
know. I've got
what do you got planned today?
What? Actually, today is a day off for the kids, so my granddaughter's here today, and I'm going to try to get my car started. It hasn't started since Wednesday. So,
no, I meant
new battery or something.
What I meant was what do you have to plan with him or to?
Oh, actually, I don't know. We're going to do a virtual date, and we'll see what happens. Not sure what happens on a virtual date, so we'll see.
Okay. Do you have any ideas of what it's going to look like or what you want it to look like?
Well, I know what it's not going to look like.
That's not what I asked. What I asked is what do you anticipate it looking like, or what do you want it to create it to be?
Oh, well, just fun hanging out. We were reminiscing the other day, and probably reminisce some more, and just talking about life. So he's in Fort Lauderdale, a nice warm place. So yeah, about 3.5 hours away from my dad's house. So I was going to visit my dad anyways, but maybe I have double reason to go to Florida now. That's about all I can say.
What?
So stop pushing for. I'm sorry.
What?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I said, if you ask me questions, I'm not going to tell no lies. So stop asking me questions.
But I'm not going to let you off the hook that just because you're not with anybody that you don't have any stories or that you don't have a.
I got stories. I know. Yeah, I got stories. One of my friends, I'll just leave him as a secret admirer. He told me I better go check my post office box because I may have a present there. So I did get a present for Valentine's Day. I don't know what it is because my car wouldn't start. So again, I wasn't forgotten for Valentine's Day. That's for sure.
Did you give any presents or gifts for Valentine's Day to other people?
No, I didn't. Well, virtual stuff, digital stuff, yes. But other than that, yeah. But I pretty much stayed by myself. But in spirit, I was all over the place.
Okay.
Gotta share the love.
It's so different because I don't consider, depending on what it is, I don't consider digital much of a gift. That's just me. You know, anything that you can send over
But it's a
right now, I don't really consider that a gift. You know, I don't know.
when somebody does a video or they send you a little poem or they let you know they're thinking about you, I think that is because you could be doing anything else on internet and not taking time or not even thinking of the person. So I beg to
Yeah.
differ. We have so many distractions that if somebody takes time to actually text you or message you and lets you know they're thinking. I mean, even guys from the website. I mean, granted, probably because they didn't have because they didn't probably have anybody else in their life. They probably said Happy Valentine's Day to everybody, but still, you know, they were thinking about you. It's still to me the thought does count, Brian. So I mean, I count it
Yeah.
because I wouldn't exclude it. I wouldn't exclude that. Well, okay, so when you
No,
give happy birthdays to your customers and stuff, you don't think that I mean that's the same thing.
but
I
it's
mean,
not
it
the only
doesn't
way I'm doing
discount.
it, though. It's not the only way I'm doing
No,
it, though.
no, I know, but I'm just saying that is one way people like social acknowledgement of
Yeah.
some sort, some communication. I mean,
We'll have
we
to
get to
look at
know
the
so many
particular
people.
medium. We'll have to look at the particular medium or circumstance because so much of this stuff is templated where you just fill in the blanks. And if it's just the same lines
Mm.
or the reading off a cue card or some crap like that, to me, you're just going through the motions. Like,
No,
how do you
right.
know this
But that's what I
person?
mean
You
is
know?
yeah, but that's what I mean. Like if you're actually having a conversation and it's curtailed to something that they reflect to, hey, how's this going or how's that going or I remember this or that. That's taking time. That's yeah. So no, right. It can't be cookie cutter. I mean, something that you copy and paste. Hell no. That just
I think
that wouldn't.
for me, it's the longevity of what else do they do?
Hi,
Is it
Justin.
only once a
Yeah. Hi.
year? Is it only, hey, Justin, what's going on? Is it only one time a year? Is it, I don't know. Teach their own, you know, I just,
Yeah.
the more it appears like what everybody else does, the less I give, I don't know. It's
Two
like the
shits.
people that do above and beyond things like for me it's very easy to send somebody like an email or a Facebook message, you know, saying happy birthday, but what else would you do? You know, what are you willing to do to
Yeah.
be in the minority, like above and beyond what
Well,
everybody else is doing, you know?
well, one thing I do is I send a video, personal video to my
Yeah,
friends to wish
yeah,
them a happy birthday.
yeah.
So they got to listen 10 seconds, with me being on there. So like
I mean, you
today's
know,
my friend Vanessa's
whatever.
birthday. And
I guess a way to look at it is like reframing it from a standpoint of like, what are the majority of people going to do, and to do the opposite of that. So if the
right.
majority of people are going to just send, "Hey, happy birthday," and then it's just this laundry list, to me, if that becomes commonplace, what does somebody do in addition? That's what I'm getting at, you
Right.
know, because whatever that is, that's just
Gotcha.
what everybody does. I don't really see it, you know. Yeah, are they acknowledging you? But it's like the algorithm is leading that charge if it's on Facebook or something, you know. Or maybe you got that person you know, in your reminders of birthdays
Yeah.
that pop up, you know. So
Yeah. But think of it this way though. I mean, it is nice that somebody goes and takes time to just say happy birthday on your birthday because I mean, sometimes I don't get to my birthdays on Facebook. I really don't. And so, I mean, you have a choice. You can ignore it. And if everybody ignored it, then you're not being acknowledged on your birthday. So, I mean, there's two double-edged sword in looking at that, Brian, because if everybody thought the way you did, then that person's going to feel like shit because nobody said happy birthday.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
But
But it's
also though,
not,
we
it,
can look at everybody in our Facebook account. How many of those people do we actually interact with on a regular basis?
but
If
that's
it's
just
really
it.
genuine
Sometimes
or if it's
holidays,
just showing up.
well, life just gets busy and you can't talk to everybody every day. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just what happens. You get old like me, you know lots of people. You can't call everybody every day.
That's not what I'm mentioning. What I'm mentioning is that just, you know, just to get that, you know, like if you've got 300 people saying happy birthday, does it feel great? Yes, but is that the only interaction that there is? Or like for me, now
No,
granted, I think in the minority is that if everybody's going to do that, I'm going to do something else. I'm going to send it to them one
right.
on one, so it's individual versus something that is just group platform or just a splatter of messages.
Right.
So,
It doesn't, right. I mean, like you could do a private message, but the point is what's nice is whether it be birthdays or holidays or whatever, that's just a starting point to actually rekindle or say, hey, how's everything going? Or we do need to catch up, or I do miss you. I love you. I care about you. I'm sorry I've been busy, whatever, or go to their Facebook page or go to whatever, or say, oh, I see them here, but let me go text them later. You know what I mean? Like it does jog something. But anyways, that could be a debate for some other time, I guess.
Well, and it's, there's so many different contexts that we don't know. It's like, okay, are these acquaintances, or these friends, are these people that, you've known for a long time, or somebody that you just met, is it somebody that you just know through an industry, or a group you're a part of, so there's a lot of different ways of looking at that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my premise is I'm not one of those that, oh, I better say hi to such and such because they got clout. I say hi to anybody and everyone that I can think of at different times. And then at times, being an introvert, I'm like, I don't reach out. So when I'm I want to reach out, oh my goodness, I reach out. So, I mean, it's just, it's just the way it is. So there's so many different ways to look at that.
Yeah.
So anyways, we're going to have to wrap up the show about 10 minutes early today. So I forgot about that. So keep me mindful.
It's okay. So over the recap of stories, what have you seen, from people or whatever over the past couple of days about what they did, or to recap Valentine's Day stories?
I've seen a lot of things on Facebook. I've talked to a few friends, read an article that you sent me, and most common things were some people never even post on Facebook that actually, hi, Tracy.
Hey, Tracy.
We appreciate you being here. Just seeing, get-togethers with friends and family. I've seen people celebrating their dogs, and I've seen people celebrate their children. And then there's people that celebrating, what is it, Singles Awareness Day. Well, I don't like the acronym. That's sad. So I don't think that's whatever. That's their opinion, but that's a new one in my ears. But yeah, so some people celebrating that they were single, and some people are celebrating, getting engaged. I think I saw one person that they have pre-engaged, a promise ring, I should say. So I've seen that. But I haven't seen any surprise engagements in my realm of friends. And so maybe because we're all getting older, I don't know. But or already taken or whatever. So I don't know. And you?
Well, I didn't really see too much or whatever.
What did you see?
I didn't really see too much. I mean, being on vacation, I'm trying to be present to who I'm with and all of that. So, and plus I don't really subscribe to the, I don't know, like the group that you said, singles, whatever. I mean, maybe I'm raised differently, but I just, it's something for publicity or whatever. It's
or
a
feel
fad.
Sorry for me. I don't know.
Yeah. What are you going to do about it? Are you going to, if you put as much energy into, woe is me or whatever, as opposed to doing something about it or just being present to like, okay, you're not with anybody. Okay, move on. Right.
Yeah.
I don't subscribe to a lot of that cultural thing where it's like these little groups, and what are they looking to get out of it? Are they looking to get publicity? Make people feel for them? What is the purpose?
Well, can I say that to me, and I mean, this might butt hurt some people. Sorry about that, people, but I'm just keeping it raw and real. But saying single awareness thing, it's like you're being a victim. You're truly trying to say, oh, I'm single and woo, like you said, well, you're single, and it's hard to mingle, maybe because you're older or whatever, but still don't don't look at it as a bad thing by telling everybody I'm Single Awareness Day. I don't know.
I mean, I've never
So
been the type of person, okay, so Tracy said, I saw a hubby paint "I love you" and hearts in the snow in the yard for his wife. That's really cool. That's really cool.
that is
And,
sweet.
and see right there, I mean, the creativity over expense or this lavish dinner. Um, but with groups like this, I just don't understand. What are they looking to get out of it? Are they looking to get kudos? Are they looking to get, popularity? I don't subscribe to that where it's like, look at me, right? Like just go about your business and do your thing, right? But
Yeah. Yeah.
I just, anything that gets somebody's attention, I mean, for whatever it is, I got it. But do it for the right reasons. Don't do it to manipulate or, like
Right.
be boastful about it. Like I just don't
Right.
subscribe to that agenda. That it's like, "Woo, look at
Yeah.
me," you know,
Yeah. I don't
you
either.
know.
I don't
I mean,
either.
and especially if it goes against who you are as a person, right? But would you do that? Would you do that kind of behavior if it was just you instead of a group of people that you align with? But nothing should surprise us anymore, right? Uh, you're it's that tussling match. Like, you got to be happy with yourself. And then what if you're not happy with yourself? Then you look at somebody and want to find somebody. It's like, you don't know if you're coming or going sometimes, to some people,
Right.
you know, they, they're their own worst enemy because they don't know if they should be with somebody or want to be with somebody or whatever, because the grass is always greener on the other side, you know? So, but, you
I
know,
I agree.
but, but just groups like this or whatever, it just blows my doors off that, you know, people feed into this, where it's like, what is the whole purpose of this? Is it to get, popularity? Is it you look at me or to be boastful? There's some intention there of why this came about or why this is a thing.
Well, I did a little post yesterday that says Happy Valentine's to you every day, not just on Valentine's Day.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like every day should be Valentine's Day, you
Yeah.
know, of some sort. I mean, like, we don't need a calendar to dictate that. That's why I
No.
was like I said, I mean, Scott couldn't hang out with me yesterday, and it's like, it's okay. Tomorrow, we don't always have tomorrow, but we can always look forward to things on our schedule, not necessarily on the, commercial schedule. That's what I
Well, and
call it
just
now, commercial schedule.
and I was watching the news yesterday morning, and I never watch the news, but it's to wake up with my girlfriend's dad, and in downtown LA they had somebody doing a remote, and they were at this floral designer, and a bouquet of roses was going for $170. That's where it started, and
Are
it's
you
not about
kidding me?
no, I'm dead serious. Dead serious. That's where it started at. And obviously, depending on the type of flowers, the kind of vase, there was one of them that actually had a Chanel vase, which I'm like, wow, okay. And, but then, any other time you could go to any store, depending on if it's just a regular grocery store, maybe a high end place or whatever, you can find a bouquet of flowers from $20 to whatever any other day besides Valentine's Day. So flowers are not any different. They might be a little fresher. But it with the moniker of Valentine's Day, there's a perceived value there. So
Wow.
just blows my doors off.
Supply and demand.
100.
And that's what I mean. We got so conditioned to think that this is when, and that fear of missing out, the FOMO. You
FOMO.
only got today, right now, or that person, and that's sad because shoot, I'd rather go to Walgreens the next day and get me some Valentine's Day candy or Halloween candy.
Oh
I
yeah, the day
don't
after
want to
they're
pay.
blowing it out, 50% off, 60% off,
Shit, I've seen that stuff at 90% off. It's like, yeah, that's my kind of deal.
I mean, heck,
That's
before
what you
everybody
call,
leaves work on the 14th, they're already stripping out the cards, to already
yeah,
discount it, It's like,
that's what you call my kind of happy day. That's a happy holiday to me. And then
let's
you
just
wonder why
celebrate
these
the
poor
day
hoarders.
after. We'll get $20 bouquets of flowers and not
But that's why
170.
That's why you got some people that are hoarders. They buy the shit the day after to keep it the next year. Hey,
It's like the day
I
after
got
Christmas,
wrapping.
that's when everybody does all their shopping, because
I
everything
got
is discounted.
wrapping paper. I got wrapping paper for 19 cents like 3 years ago. I probably have over 100 rolls still.
Oh yeah. I can see you doing that.
Oh, shit. I don't do that no more. Besides, I don't have to.
Right.
Soon I'll be wrapping up the wrapping paper and give it to my kids. Here you go.
Or a gift that's been passed down from family members all of a sudden recirculates
Regifting.
and you
Yeah.
get it again.
Yeah, but the point is, it really is when we realize how we are manipulated to think that that's when we have to celebrate certain things,
Yeah.
like certain families and stuff. Like in Ricky's family, because he comes from a big family, that for his mom's side, they celebrate the month of January or February for Christmas.
Nope.
I mean,
Yep.
like, why feel like you have to do it specifically that day?
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, if we curtail and not conform to that, way of thought, it'd be amazing, the way you can
Well, and
deregulate
marketers
some of
and
this.
advertisers are so great at taking wherever you are and getting you to decide without much conscious thought. That this is
Yeah.
just what you do. And if and it's like a comparison thing where unless you look a certain way or whatever, what are you doing? Like, is it good enough for her? Are you romantic enough? All of the
Mm.
different things that pinpoint to Valentine's Day are hot buttons, or at least they want you to perceive them as hot buttons. And the only way that you can match up, or the only way you can, what's the word I'm looking for? The only way that you can be rest assured that it is going to be that is to do all of these things, or to buy the $170 roses, right? But then 2 days before Valentine's Day, you could have got them for $40 or $50, right? I mean, it's but then also though too, I don't subscribe to that. It's just a man thing.
What
That
what about
that what the man does for the woman. I think it's depending on the relationship. I think it's a balance, and it might show up in different ways. But I don't think it's just the man romancing the woman. I also think that there's a component that it's the more well-rounded it is by both parties doing it, the healthier it is.
No, I agree. I spoke to one of my friends, um, and I was like, "What are you going to do for your God?" She goes, "No." But then again, I see her point, so that's not a good example. But I do find it very interesting when I ask some of my female friends, "So what'd you do for him?" Because that tells me
Yep.
a lot. It just tells me a
Yep.
lot. Okay, it truly just tells me a lot. That's all I'm gonna say, and I'll leave it at that. But I'm like,
Well,
okay,
and
it's not a 50-50 relationship.
I've had that happen in the past where, when I lived in the Chicago Northwest suburbs where, I would go all in and I would do those things. And then and it wasn't a measurement, but when I'm speaking from the heart here, and what I get coming back to me is the feeling it's not enough, or I didn't spend enough money. I didn't get the brightest piece of jewelry or whatever that is. Eventually that puts a black hole over the heart real quick, right? Regardless of dollars. When the thought is not good enough, or I didn't create this whole elaborate thousands of dollar dinner or whatever it is, it's like, I wasn't raised that way. That's not
Dude,
my
no,
self-expression. And
neither is
that
mine.
that
I mean, I'm the. Go ahead. There's a
well, no, I
delay.
just
Sorry. Go
is
ahead.
that like yeah, there is a delay today. Is that like for me, I give my girlfriend cards whenever I see her, like custom cards where I'm taking a moment we had together, or like hopefully she's not watching this. I know she's not because she's in the hot tub. But there's plenty of moments that we shared together where I've got enough cards that I can create a custom card for who knows how many months in the future, right? And it's like I would rather do that every day or every couple days because it's just who I am. than to be like, okay, well, here's a card and some chocolates or whatever, but the rest of the time you're unsure of what it's going to look like or how you're going to feel, you know? And for me, I gave her a card, I gave her a hug, I gave her a kiss. We went out to the pool, it was a pool day yesterday. She went to the store and she got me some Reese's Pieces because I'm a big peanut butter person, and a coffee. Was it, did I get
See,
her all
that
those things? Did I get her those same things? No, but as soon as I landed here in Southern California, I got her a big bouquet of flowers. And I told her, I said, not only are these for
uh,
you for being in my life, but they're also for Valentine's Day. So it's just like, why not celebrate it throughout the whole time I'm here? And every time she puts water in them, that she thinks of me. Why does it have to be only for one day? And so, but
exactly.
obviously that dynamic has to be responsive and understood by everybody that's in the relationship. You know,
Yeah.
um, it might not work for certain people, and that's okay. But that's why different people are attracted to different people if they're in an intimate relationship together. You know, like you and I, Lynn, we tell it like it is. We've been through some stuff in life. We just jive.
Yeah.
Would if we were in conversations with other people, they might think we're a little bit abrasive or brash. Well, okay, but that doesn't mean we are. It just means that that's their perception. But I'm sure you would agree, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but telling it like it is, man, you keep things pretty clean. You keep it pretty simple when you do it that way.
Well, and I'll give you a good example. I mean, like Scott and I mean, like I've seen him on his podcast lately, which was really weird because he started his podcast a year beforehand, and I never even knew he had a podcast. And his is LOL out loud. Well, I made
Okay.
mine, blah, blah, blah. And I had no idea he had a podcast like that because I checked to see who was copying who, which wasn't the case. But we hadn't really talked until like recently. And the cool thing is when we talked, we actually talked like old school, like on the phone. We caught up what was going on. After that, we turned on the video chat and got to see each other. And we're like, whoa, this is so cool. Like we knew each other since 12 years old. Okay. And yeah, I am a year older, so shut up. But anyways, so it's like, I got to talk to him. And the cool thing is one thing, and he's had a hell of a life. I've had a hell of a life. And, the cool thing about us is we had I mean, okay, so this is really cool. We met at sixth grade and he lived three doors down. He ended up moving away. My senior year, he shows up to my school and he actually was there like the night of school or parents' night. And he's in the auditorium and the teacher says to me, Lynn, somebody over there knows you. I'm like, what? So he stands up and I see him and I'm like 5 years later, I get to see him. Well, they didn't have a locker for him. So I said, hey, you could share your locker with me. And every morning, I kid you not, every morning I got up, gave him a kiss, a nice kiss and hug. He went his way all day. I went my way the whole day. We just knew how to be in each other's space without being in each other's space. And it's
Hmm.
just so stinking cool that, like he said, Lynn, when I think of you, I think of good memories. We never had any conflict. I mean, it was just something real special. So,
Hmm.
again, to him, just like it is to me, it's important to have communication. Like when I thought of him yesterday, he'd message me or I'd message him. And it's just the simple things of communication. He had things going on. He's like, I'm really super busy. And that's all I need. Just tell me you're busy. Don't say, oh my gosh, I gotta ignore her and oh my gosh, just tell me how it is. It's, I'm busy and worst case scenario, don't. So he doesn't let me hang. He lets me know what's going on and I'm doing the same. And it's just, if anything, we're always going to be best friends because we've got that love and respect between us. I mean, we've got very very close respect for each other. And I mean, to me there's nothing better than that. I mean, it truly is because we're all given different turns and obstacles, day by day, minute by minute. And so just to know that you can at least talk to each other, not be frustrated by whatever the situation is, but say, hey, this is what's going on. nothing better than being honest and just leaving it there. And I mean, he's got a really interesting life too. And I look forward to, sharing that on the road that I think we're going to do something like Joy in the Junk, something about just, we all carry junk and luggage. Yeah. And I going to have to remind him, do you remember I got junk in the trunk? But that's beside the point. But anyways, we'll get down that road. But the bottom line is it's just so.
In the subheading of your
ahead,
show,
Brian.
you might have to explain that a little bit. You know what I mean?
Right. But all I'm saying is just a simple thing of reconnecting with him and having the communication in our friendship is just the simple things in life. Because with the simple things in life, when there's no expectations and just being, nothing is better than that. It truly isn't. Yep. We make everything so freaking difficult when it doesn't have to be.
Well, we've talked about it numerous times in the shows that there's a lot of pieces, but I mean, if we just look at ourselves, I mean, authenticity, telling it like it is, obviously, if somebody has never been around somebody that has, they're just straight talk type of person, no BS, that they don't know how to deal with that because it's such a rarity in life. Or if they are around people like that, it's not for very often. It's not like that person's a partner, or maybe the person was a family member or something like that. But I mean, the day in and day out, if somebody is like that, it's not a bad thing. It's just something that it doesn't make it comfortable for somebody that weasels their way out of being accountable, or that somebody's taking them at their word, integrity. And so when those types of things happen, people don't know what to do, because I mean, who in this world, who's held accountable for their actions? Is it going to be, more times than not, most people are not going to hold their people accountable for what they said they were going to do. Or if they do, it happens out of sadness and frustration with an argument or something. It doesn't happen in the moment to say, hey, here's how you made me feel. In the moment when it happens, you complete it and you move on. That doesn't happen for a lot of people in the world.
No, it's true. And I mean, I have a tendency still sometimes to be very, very quiet when I'm, how would I say, absorbing or reflecting on how I feel. Sometimes I may, like if I get upset with you, Brian, I'd be like, you may find that I'm quiet at first, because first I have to check myself. Is it me? Is it them? Is it the situation? What's stirred in with me? Because maybe it's not what Brian just said, but it might be how I'm feeling at the moment. I mean, like, I got to check myself. And with that checking myself, then when I transpire and I'm like, okay, no, I'm in the right mind and I got to say some shit, then I come with, hey, from what you said, this is how I feel. And, like I said, I'll use it against you. Everything you can say will be held against you. And then I go there forth. But before that, I sometimes I'm like, give me a minute and I'm going to get back to that subject. But then I give all barrels, because there's times, and I mean, I can't do that every time, or I try to do everything every time. I've become better at it, but it used to be that I'd shoot from the hip and realize, oh shit, I shot from the wrong hip. I mean, I'll do that at times. I do, but I find it's better when I actually take a minute and process and then come out.
Well, I've had in my mastermind for my industry, there's been several times when you get 20 people and it doesn't matter the medium. The only one where you're actually able to diffuse things or to kind of control things is in person, which we haven't been able to do. And one of the members, I got some friction with this person just because not only do we think differently, but the person's not the utmost in integrity, in my opinion. And he's commented, he goes, well, Brian, you're quiet. And I'm like, well, number one, to have one more person talking is not healthy for the group. That's number one. Number two is that I sit back and if I have something to say, I'm going to check myself with it to be like, okay, is this what my heart is telling me to say? Does this move things forward? Or does it just kind of keep it in the sewer or the revelry of what we're doing right now? Right? Because there's too many people that may not be aware of this, but they like to hear themselves talk. I just need to say it. Right. But what do they contribute? Are they moving things forward? Or is this just cooler talk? And
Yeah.
the older I get and the more that time becomes relevant, where we only have so many hours per day, I don't need to have any more cooler talk in my life. I got stuff I need to do. And if it's not going to move me forward or it's not going to stimulate my thinking or a new point of view, to me, I don't need it in my world, you know? And yeah, there's times like that where it's like having another person talking just to talk is not productive. It's not relevant. It doesn't move anything forward. And I've kind of gotten to that place where if I have something after hearing what everybody's saying, if there's something that is still with me after I consciously think about it, and if the conversation goes in such a way where I need to say it, then I will. But if it's not in my gut to say it, well, then it just rolls off and we move on with whatever. But just to talk is without a purpose or a point is just noise.
Yeah, and that, Glenn Morshower even talks about either, you got something to contribute or to contaminate. And
Yep.
and I watch my contamination as far as when I have something brutal to say, but I really take a lot of shit from somebody that keeps perpetually doing the same shit.
Yeah.
And then the contamination needs to come out and diffuse it because
Right.
I feel like, okay, you keep saying the same thing, you keep blah, 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 but this needs to be said,
Yeah.
because they've been contaminating a lot, not contributing. So I need to contribute an explosive contamination to diffuse the whole thing. I mean, but basically that's getting really in depth, people. And I'm not trying to get in depth right now, but I'm just saying there is a time and place where you do have to. You can only take so much people's bullshit, and then you just got to
Right.
explode. And
Well,
because if not, it's you got to say your piece, I should say, right? But
yep.
saying your piece can contaminate the fact that people that you've been talking to are delusional and don't realize their own shit, So sometimes
Yep.
you only put up with it so much. I'll talk when needed and then I'll shut up. And then when I have something of value to say, then I'll say it. But
There's
I'm trying to be more in check with the, contribute, not contaminate.
there's two more things that came out from what you just said. Is number one, the longer you go without responding, it's all according to facts, right? Like it's streamlined. You've had a chance to think about it in your brain and be very clear about what comes out of your mouth. Number two is that how somebody shows up one time is how they always show up, or at least that there's that pattern. And so if somebody keeps filtering the air with the same words and they get you to feel a certain way or whatever, knowing that it's all based on facts, you're not making it more than what it is. You're sticking very close to what they said, what their actions were. And when you call somebody out in such a way, like not intentional, but when you call somebody out by their own words, they don't know what to do with it because a lot of people are not keeping track of that stuff. They're not the type of person to sit back and just observe, is this a healthy environment to be in? Is it not? Who can I trust? Who's in character? And I'm not saying like you're on stage. I'm just saying whose character is fully them, like where they're genuinely they are as themselves. And when somebody keeps perpetuating a point of view or an agenda that they don't, that it's willy-nilly or they try to conform, that's when I say some things and I call people out, but it's all based on the facts, right? Like if
Exactly.
I'm in a mastermind group and there's a conversation going about higher education or whatever, and I introduce a new opportunity and then I get backlash, well, why would you want to do that? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, wait a minute. This is just an opportunity here. I'm not forcing anybody. I'm not manipulating anybody. I'm just throwing it out there that this opportunity is available. Here's the information. Here's the link. You do what
You're
you want with it.
contributing. You're contributing.
Yeah,
Contributing. That's not
right.
contaminated. That's contributing. Absolutely.
And
I
it's
mean,
and it
and
we're
it could
and
be
we're we got a pretty bad delay today. But when the way it shows up sometimes is when people feel the obligation to challenge me or to challenge us in the world. But then when we can't challenge them, ooh, they don't like that very much. And it's like, well, wait a minute. How do you think that that dynamic works? Like, whatever puts you in a position of power that somebody can't challenge you? You know, like it's just a weird dynamic for me to understand.
You just reminded me of my little brother. He don't ever watch my show. Like he may sometime. I told him, hey, I talk about the family anytime I want. So he might have radar, but it's just like when he calls me, and he's very very smart. He's in IT. He's almost has his PhD in IT.
Jeez.
So he's like,
Wow.
and he's left-handed. I mean, he's just really smart, right? But when he calls me, he's always talking about stuff going on in his life and this and that and this and that. But it seems like when it's my time to talk, hey, I gotta go right now, and blah 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 blah. It's like it's almost a given every time. He's like, well, I gotta go, and these are like 5-10 minute conversations, and it's like, dude, I got your number now. So it's like so it's funny how that works.
Well, yeah, I mean, when you recite people's words back to them, not only do you surprise them because it's like, oh, somebody's at with subconsciously watching me or taking their cues or whatever, but it's like, okay, do I believe that person? And if not, why? Well, and then all of a sudden the evidence starts adding up. You know, is there change in their behavior? What comes out of their mouth, does it match their actions, or do their actions match what comes out of their mouth? Right? And it just blows my doors off when you use people's words that they gave you, that they said publicly, and you bring them back to them, and then they're like, they don't know what to do, instead of it being like nobody's really listening or really paying attention. And that's what happens with people that that sit back and look at what's going on. They examine things, they don't make quick decisions, and they're usually quiet, is because they're trying to understand everything. you know, is everybody open? Where's the conformists? Where are the people that are
Mm-hmm.
just not making any judgments? They're not making anybody wrong. They want to understand everything that's taking place right now, instead of being,
Yeah,
how they talk about with communication skills. Be the person to understand first, and then with the intention to respond, not with the intention to respond first and then, which you never get the time to do, is understand.
exactly. And like I love the fact that you and I had talked, and like I got to leave in 8 minutes, but I love that you
Yeah.
said, well, is it we have to leave early every time or not? Which,
Mhm.
by the way, the reason why I'm doing a special show, it's helping this platform with sex trafficking and the
Yeah.
awareness of the platform and stuff. So it's kind of important. But anyways, it was like, well, Lynn, is that going to be every week? It's there. What's wrong with communicating to make sure you understand it? And I love saying to people, hey, so let me understand. Is this what you mean? Because this is how I'm taking it. And if they
Right.
clarify and that's how they mean, then you hold barrels to say, well, why or how, or use those words against them when you clearly understand what because it could be a miscommunication and you don't know
Yep.
until you bring it up.
Well, and for me, I through many different courses and different training and whatnot. Yes, two ears and one mouth. I would rather be the type of person to flush out any uncertainty, any confusion, just to be on the same page in that moment before feelings get involved, right? Where it's like, "Ooh, did I do something?" Right? The more that this gets turning, the easier it is for us to create meaning that is assumptions at best, you know? And to clear the air right then and there doesn't allow feelings to get hurt. It doesn't allow
Yeah,
relationships to be severed. And I also do know this is that by people that sit back and want to understand first, they don't jump to conclusions. They're a lot more calm, right? But then everything that comes out of their mouth has real gold in it, right? Because if they took the time to sit there and look at the landscape, listen to what was being said, whatever comes out of their mouth is been well thought out. It's not spewing the stream of you know consciousness,
from
regardless if it makes sense.
right. And I agree with you on the fact that if you're able to listen to somebody and understand it, like, I'm dyslexic and I've got what, like my listening could be reversed or something. So I'm always just mindful. Am I hearing this right? Because
Mhm.
I'd have to apologize, but I don't use a disability to say, well, I misunderstood that. Haha. No, I've learned that it's something I misunderstand. And so I check myself first before I realize that someone's saying it the right way, because I don't want to be, come from the wrong place. So,
Well, and one of the
but
things I always look at, and we're going to be going here in a couple minutes, is just in summary or to recap for me, this whole thing about not making people wrong. Now, you're not doing it intentionally, but the distinction is do they perceive that you're making them wrong, right? Is that to understand is one thing. That's your tone, your pitch, all of that combined, and then the particular context of what you're talking about. But do they perceive that you made them wrong, right? And the crazy part about it is that it's by the nonverbal things, right? How do they take that interaction and perceive it? And obviously, if somebody's conscious of their environment and if it was a tense situation or conversation or whatever, they clean it up right away. They're in touch with that person, right? Are we cool? Hopefully I didn't offend you or whatever, but I just wanted to make sure that that this is how I felt about this situation, and complete it there versus having it come back later. Maybe that person doesn't want to be your friend, or there's a gap that gets bigger as time goes on.
yeah, I hear you. Matter of fact, I went into a room and I said to this girl on Clubhouse, "Hey, you're not following me," and I didn't mean nothing by it in a negative way, but then I had misspoke. So when I got to talk again, I said, "Hey, I apologize for not realizing, the follow. This is what I meant." She's like, "You don't need to apologize." I'm like, "No, I do, because I didn't, I misunderstood." And people are like, "Let it go," and I'm like, "No, I want to publicly say I was at fault. I have no
Right.
problem saying I'm at fault,
Right.
because I'm only human, and I'd
That's right.
rather say I'm only human with a disability, but I don't want to use disabilities as a freaking excuse either. I just want to
Well,
own up to it, because it makes you better when you learn from a mistake.
Well, and plus, I mean, you feel so much better. I know that depending on the context, I mean, it might be harder to say that, but it's like you can feel peaceful. You can feel
Yeah,
free that you owned up
yeah,
to it, regardless if you feel like you were 10% responsible or 100% responsible. It makes no difference, because you're either in alignment with somebody moving forward, or there's a discrepancy, there's a barrier,
yeah.
you know,
I
and all that matters is like, is that person with you or not with you, and why?
Yeah. Well, it's just I would always get in the past, I'd get really sad that I misunderstood something and I said something, like I would really be in the I hated myself because I misunderstood, and want to
Hmm.
apologize and realize, no, Lynn, this is just the way you are. And yet, but I don't want to say, oh, it's because I have this problem. No, I want to just, because I think when you do something wrong or something does go wrong, if you can know you did it wrong, you're more mindful the next time to do the best you can to not,
Yep.
miscommunicate. So that's really important.
Well, and
So
the more that you can be selfless, that the only persons, and now granted, our opinions and our views matter, but when you can empathize with that person as far as relating to their point of view, empathizing with
yeah,
them, right? I didn't mean to upset you there. What can I do to, restore that? You know? Oh,
right.
you didn't upset me, but if I felt like I did, not only am I in touch with myself, but also though I'm taking ownership for that moment, for that
Oh
situation.
yeah,
And I think the more that you're willing to be selfless, and the more that you're willing to own up to whatever it is, even if you're the only one that felt it, you're going to be a lot more healthier off with everybody in your life. So
absolutely.
the action step, and then we got to go. So what is an ideal
Yeah,
Valentine's Day experience for you to receive and give? Like for me, I think Valentine's Day, yes, might be more masculine dominated, where the guy romances the woman. But a question to all of our viewers and we're grateful to have you aboard. And also, though, everybody catching the replay, is what is an ideal Valentine's Day experience for you to not only give, but also though receive? If you want to leave your comments and share with us, we'd love that.
I hate to dash, but it is for a good reason. There's a panel this Friday. I think is it Friday? Let me see. I want to plug it real quick. Friday, I'm going to be doing its special edition. We're going to be talking about the people that have been sexually trafficked that are actually coming back into this world. And this is to help survivors and their families as a whole to talk about it. And we'll actually have on the show somebody that got out of sex trafficking. And so it's really important. It's going to be a show that I'm going to want you guys to share out. We need to have that awareness and love. So Brian, thank you. You're contributing by giving me the space and time to do this for a good reason. She was on another publication to broadcast that out to other people, and this is the only time we could get it in. So thank you so much for that. And I love you. You're such a team player, and hopefully you can chime in and share the word too. So love you guys so much. We will see you tomorrow. Okay.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.